Good morning and welcome back to the channel. So some of you will recognise what's behind me. We are at Warton Crag. Warton Crag, just down the road from Leighton Moss. So we've come away for the weekend. I've come to spend some time at Leighton Moss, an RSPB reserve that I absolutely love and have been to many times before. But I thought while we're here, and we were actually staying at a pub in Warton itself, what better place to come than to Warton Crag. And for those of you that don't know why this is important, well, Warton Crag is a place that peregrines nest every single year. I don't know whether you can hear, but I can hear the young calling behind me. There's a cacophony of jackdaws, carrion crow that are all calling as they've woken up this morning. It is still very, very early. The sun is just starting to rise over to the left of me, but I can hear the young calling, so they're definitely there. The problem is they're well camouflaged. So I've got my trusty binoculars. I'm going to spend a bit of time now just scanning the cliff face to see if I can find those peregrine falcons, hopefully bring you a little bit of video and maybe some photographs too. So come along for the journey and see what I see. So I found the peregrine. It's currently harassing the crows and the jackdaws. It's kind of doing some mock dives at it. So I'm just tracking it at the moment. It's in flight to see where it's going, where it's going to land. I don't know whether the chicks have fledged. They may have done already. This looks like an adult. But I'll just keep tracking it, see where it goes. It was swooping through the woods to the west hand side of Warton Crag, so I'm just going to keep tracking it, seeing if it goes back to any young or whether it's going to roost somewhere. At which point I'll try and get some photographs. At the moment it's quite a distance away, but it does keep swooping back towards this way, so I'm going to get my camera ready and just get some photographs and some video hopefully. I've been up both sides of the crag. There is a path that goes up the right hand side which gets you kind of to the side of the crag, but the minute you get there your viewpoint is quite limited back towards the cliff face. So I went over to the west side, which seems to be the direction that the peregrine is working, although I've lost it at the moment, and you can't get up the west hand side of the crag. There are fences everywhere that says you're not to go forward, and there's a risk of danger with the cliff edge. I'm not into taking those kind of risks, so I'm certainly not going to be going that way. So I've just come back to the point where I found it right at the start, and I'm just looking out to see if I can see it. It's been in several times, and it seems to be mock diving at the jackdaws, much to the jackdaws' disgust. But I think what's happening is that the jackdaws have got nests all along the cliffside, and they're to and froing with food to feed the young. So although it's doing these mock dives at the jackdaw, I've no doubt that it's probably here for those young fledge, or to catch one out as it's going back towards the nest. So it's probably worth me giving it another half an hour to an hour just to see if I can see it, see if I can get any more photographs, any more video. What I've got at the moment has been really at range. They've been right pressed back, and I don't want to go this side of the fence. There are signs everywhere saying, it's a protected area because of the peregrine from the peregrines nesting, and I certainly don't want to cause any element of disruption or disturbance for them. Wow, that was a rock falling. That's why you don't go that side of the cliff. So if nothing else, I'll just appreciate it from afar and watch this absolutely fantastic raptor. Probably the king of raptors in many ways. I've loved peregrine falcons since I was a little boy. They've always captured my imagination with them being the fastest bird or the fastest animal on the planet as they dive, reaching speeds, I don't know, probably well over 100 miles an hour. I'd have to look it up to see the exact speeds, but they certainly captured my imagination when I was a little boy. So to see them now, it's fantastic, even if I don't get the photographs or the video. Some days, wildlife photography is frustrating. Some days, it's good. Some days are just wow. Wow. So let me just explain to you what's happened, and I'm going to put some photographs and some video up on the board while it's happening. I can barely catch my breath. My heart is beating that hard. It's beating through my chest. I'm filming the peregrine, and the peregrine is on the branch, and then it flies off. As it flies off, I look away from the camera and I look back. As I look back, to the right of me is a stoat. Now, I've seen stoats, fleeting glimpses before, but I've never seen one up close, never managed to get a photograph. This stoat spots a young baby rabbit. Now, cautionary note, the video I'm going to put up, it's not pleasant, predation never is, but the stoat sees the baby rabbit and it absolutely flies after it. And I pull the camera off the tripod as quick as I can. I'm getting down low and I'm trying to get photographs, and it's really difficult because there's lots of things in the way, and the stoat is chasing the rabbit and it chases it right across the crag in front of me, and then all of a sudden, bam, it grabs it. Oh, my heart was breaking a little bit, you know, the little rabbit was squealing, but these stoats are such ferocious predators. It grabbed the little baby rabbit by the back of the neck, and what it does is it bites it right on the spinal cord, and it severs the nervous system through. It's a fatal bite. As soon as it had got hold of this rabbit, it was very quickly over. But then, what was even better was the stoat carried this rabbit, probably 3 times its size, back towards me. Oh, I held my breath for that long. In the end, I had to let out a big gulp just to try and get some air in. It came right across in front of me. I've got a little bit of video, but I'm hoping I've got some photographs. Difficult because the grass is quite long and it was carrying it through the grass. But this stoat jumps up high with it. Every time it moves sort of at a foot at a time, jumps up, sits back down, jumps up, sits back down. And it's carried it off just into these nettles behind me. I've no doubt it's probably got young itself, and it's taking home breakfast to feed its young. Wow. Who needs lions on the Serengeti chasing down wildebeest when you've got stoats chasing down rabbits in Warton Crag? That has got to be up there with one of the most breathtaking wildlife experiences I've ever encountered. And I only hope the video does it every bit of justice as I've just explained it to you and seen it with my own eyes. If I have, fingers crossed. Enjoy. The bit that I forgot to mention, whilst all this was happening and whilst the stoat was carrying the rabbit across in front of me, the peregrine then flew over the top of me with a kill in its talons. So I filmed it, and it's currently sat eating the prey up on the rocks at the top. Wow. I've found now, the peregrine's just flying overhead now, I've found the nest. It's taken a bit of work, I'm not going to lie, to find the nest. I've scanned the whole of the crag side, and I've been watching the peregrines moving to and fro. There are two of them, obviously, a mum and a dad, and then they've just gone back with prey, and they were sat eating the prey, and then just below it there's a load of poo down the side of the cliff face, and that's obviously where the youngsters are. So the youngsters are on a little ledge just below where one of the peregrines is eating at the moment, and that's what they've just dropped some food down. So whatever prey they brought back then, I couldn't see it. One of them was flying around with it. It seemed to drop it, but this was all taking place while the stoat was taking the rabbit. So I wasn't really paying attention to the peregrine, even though that's the target species for me to get today. I couldn't resist what I was seeing to the side of me. They're now roosting back around the nest site, so I'm going to stay for a little bit longer. They're at a real distance, these peregrines. It's very difficult to get anything in terms of photography. And then even if I go to either side of the cliff, on the right hand side, the eastern side of the crag, you can get quite close. There's a fence that runs up the side of it, but even if I get there, to be honest with you, I think the cliff face itself will be quite obscured. So I'm just going to continue to watch them, and I hope I'm getting something that the viewers, that you guys can watch too, because it's fantastic to see. So what's quite nice now is that the light, as the sun's rising, it's kind of moving around and it's filling the entire crag face with some beautiful light. We're still quite early, 7 o'clock in the morning. I've been here since 4 this morning, but the light is just catching those peregrines now on the cliff face. I'll just start that video recording there, and I'm going to put that up on the screen whilst I'm talking. You can see the chest is just catching the sunlight as it's on the cliff face, and absolutely beautiful. As I say, they're still too far away. Perhaps I needed Pops's 800mm just to give me that little bit of a closer look at them. But what can I say? I've got 2 peregrines side by side on a cliff ledge in beautiful morning sunlight, and I've just seen a stoat predate on a rabbit. Incredible. So what it would appear is that the peregrine chicks have fledged, I think. I've got a peregrine over to the left on the cliff top. I've got two above me just now, which I've got a little bit of video for you, which I'll pop up on the screen now. And I think what's happening is the peregrine adults are going out, they're catching prey, they're bringing it in. They seem to be flying and doing loops around the crag with it in their talons, almost showing it to the youngsters, possibly in trying to encourage them to take flight. And then after a period of time, they're going onto one of the craggy outcrops and dropping the prey, and then the youngsters are going and feeding on it. So I think, because I've seen, I think I've got three now, two in front of me and one to the left, and you can hear that call, not the jackdaws which are drowning out everything, but you're perhaps hearing a more high-pitched call, and that appears to be the adults that are calling to the youngsters continuously. Back at Warton Crag for the final bit of the video. Been here this morning. You can probably hear the peregrines fleeting about between 2 points on the crag. They've got a kill that they're kind of passing between the two of them, and the juveniles are calling out for it even so. It's been a fantastic couple of days between here and Leighton Moss. I've not been to Warton Crag before, been to Leighton Moss several times before, and I would suggest that if you come to Leighton Moss, Warton Crag has got to be on your hit list. This has been probably the highlight of the weekend, and to experience the stoat and the rabbit yesterday morning was just unforgettable, and quite possibly one of the most amazing wildlife experiences I've ever encountered. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like. Consider subscribing if you've not already. Pop a comment in the box down below. I respond to every single comment, and consider sharing this video on social media. Get it out there to as much people as possible. Thanks very much for all your support from my regular viewers, and until next time, ta-ra.